Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic.
I'm Barry P. Cook. I'm here to review the latest episode of The Flash, entitled Rayo de Luz, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And it starts off with the reappearance of Ultraviolet, aka Esperanza. She apparently is on the hunt for something or someone. Right after the opening, we see that Barry and Iris are stepping out. They're going to take, I guess, the day off and go on a little mini trip to an island. And we find this out via Barry telling the rest of Team Flash without Iris even being present. Oh, and we learn that where he's going, there's no cell service, of course, because they don't want to have to bring him in to the episode because they're trying to do an episode without the character for some reason, which is really stupid and which I didn't like. And, you know, that's not even something that Barry would do, like leave the team high and dry with no way to be reached. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, Frost announces, okay, well, I'm going on a shopping spree. And Allegra takes off to hunt down Esperanza, who, of course, is her cousin, and that she's been trying to deal with. This pretty much leaves Chester to his own. Because where's Kate? We don't know. She shows up later, but like, anyway, so the next scene we get is of Joe and Cecile having a conversation about Captain Kramer, who I guess Joe suspects of having been involved in some unsavory doings in the past. So he's on her tail, I guess, or on her trail, as it were. The next scene we get is Ultraviolet showing up to Jitters. She attacks Allegra, who's hanging out with Chester. Sue shows up, Sue being Ralph's friend that was in the previous episode, and they sort of have a fight. Ultraviolet announces that she's after the doctor who messed her up and that she feels abandoned by Allegra after having been captured by Allegra and Sue. She then gets released by Allegra and Sue, who vow to help her find the doctor and see what they can do. Then we go back to John, who's visiting Kramer, and he confronts her about the situation that he thinks she was involved in, where her men were betrayed by someone close to them and people died. She happens to be looking at Zaz's file at the time, which I don't know what that's about, but that's what she was doing. And she does not take this well. She threatens him, throws him out of her office. Next, we get a scene where Ultraviolet is trying to train Allegra to use her abilities. It doesn't go very well. Sue shows up, they have a fight, Chester gets hit, it messes up his arm, just a bad scene. Sue then confronts Allegra, wants her to stop chasing Esperanza because she's only going to get hurt. She says, even though it's your family, this is not a good thing, and Allegra declines to stop trying to help her. Chester then works out a way to find Ultraviolet. So they go and confront her. She, on the other hand, is confronting the doctor that made her the way she is, and he says he wants to experiment on her some more. Allegra shows up, tries to get her away from the doctor. She refuses to leave, and they fight. There's a lot of fighting in this episode. During the fight, Allegra comes into her powers. She lights up like a Christmas tree and sort of wins the fight. And then she and Ultraviolet reconcile back at Star Labs. And she says to Ultraviolet that there may be a way to cure her of what was done to her. The next scene we get is Joe gets a text from Kramer. He meets with her at a restaurant. They have a conversation. It turns out that she has a spiritual brother, in other words, someone she considers a brother who wasn't really her brother, and that he's actually the one that betrayed the troops or her men, and that she's been searching for him, and she wants Joe to help her find him, which he agrees to do. Then there's a scene where Allegra and Chester are talking about maybe hanging out, and it's kind of an awkward little conversation where it seems like they might be on the path to couplehood. Right at that time, Barry comes back, yay, and he says, you know, what happened while I was gone? And they say, well, nothing. We then get a scene where we see Frost is confronting her cold power nemesis, whose name I forget, because he's out of prison and she thinks he escaped. She says, I'm going to take you in. And he says, no, they let me out. I'm turning state's evidence. So now I'm one of the good guys. So that was the episode. Didn't think much of it. I thought very little of it, to be honest. I do not like that there was no Flash in it. I've been saying this for weeks now. There's too little Flash on the Flash. They'll go 2 or 3 episodes barely using him or not using him at all, like in this episode. Then they'll have an episode where he's in it a lot, but he might not be in the suit. But then, he's in the suit for an episode or 2, and they go back to not. What are they doing? I don't. This is not. I want to watch the Flash. I don't want to watch the Team Flash show. They did this earlier in the season when they had Cisco and Chester go back in time. Like, what? Why? I'd love to know why they're doing it. I don't know, but I don't like it. Anyway, there should be an episode next week. I'll be back to review that. Once again, I take my leave saying peace and long life.